Hey, what's up, Dane? How you doing?
Good, good. Ready for another great episode. We got two on tonight with us. I mean, we already had that one that I'm still, man,
Did you
I'm still
run?
giddy
Did you go
about, and
run?
I,
That's
yeah,
right.
I haven't come down from that. It was a good one.
I told you, Dane, one of our friends and mentors, a while back, we got the privilege of interviewing Coach Josh Trevino
Yeah,
from Texas State. We got the chance to steal him for a guest host. Coach Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad you had me back. I really enjoyed our time the first time, and I like what you guys do and what you provide for people who listen. So I'm really excited and happy to be back.
Oh,
yeah,
our privilege, Coach. I remember as I
yeah.
told Dane and kind of around the dugout, Coach, there's a little philosophy from your episode. We take that to heart because of you, not in spite of you, and that's kind of like grown in the dugout. Probably gonna be my next tattoo, by the way, too. Put it somewhere on my elbow or something. So pretty cool. Coach, you guys doing any fall ball stuff yet, or still kind of gearing up for that? Or...
Yeah, yeah. So we actually just wrapped up like our full team weeks last week. We were supposed to play the University of Texas, but I got rained out, and that was going to be like the exclamation point at the end of like full team practice. We'll practice for about 2 more weeks, and then we won't see him again until January. So just finished all of our fall stuff. Again, we'll see them for 2 weeks. We'll have individuals here and there, just kind of make sure we're all good, and then we won't see him again for another month and a half.
Isn't it crazy how a month and a half in softball is like 8 dog years? You know what I'm saying, Josh? It's like
Yeah,
those
yeah,
huge precious days,
Yes,
right? So
yes. Because we start the fall, and I'm like, man, it's we have a long time till December. Like it's fine. We'll get to that later. And now I'm like, okay, I got four bullpens left with my pitchers to make sure they're going to be able to come back in the spring and be fine. And I'm like, okay, great.
I love it. Well, Coach, Dane and I wanted to bring you back. There's a special lady we wanted to have you chat
yeah.
with us tonight. Dane and I. Her name is Aldyn Wildey. She's actually running multiple programs. She's a part of Avila University, as well as Midwest Firecrackers. Love that organization, man. That's those up and comers. I think of like the Texas Glory type stuff and Impact, Midwest Firecrackers, kind of all in that genre of
Mhm.
just next level, high school, 16, that kind of stuff. Plus, what she's doing with Avila is amazing. I think she coaches like 12 teams right now. It's crazy. No, she does a lot. So it's one of them things where, man, I feel like having two kids in it, let alone what she's doing with just multiple programs, is impressive. So
Yeah.
I want to get right down to it. We've been chomping at the bit for a while to bring on this coach. Coach Aldyn, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Amazing.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for your time.
That was
Yes.
quite the intro.
Yeah, it's all true. It's, everything we said is true. I think you do a lot with multiple teams, and I get tired just watching you.
Yeah,
So, did I hear you say you're telling Coach Josh and I you're up to 34 lessons a week as well on top of
yeah.
coaching? Is that right, Alden?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Wow.
drop the mic. You win the award, whatever it is,
Yeah,
for the golden softball. So let's go. Well, Coach Josh, Dane, and I have got some questions we want to run past you. So I'm going to take the lead real quick. I know your time is precious. So I'm going to go first. When you think about your days of playing softball, coaching with, again, Avila and, of course, Midwest Firecrackers, and then time to do things on the side, that opening moment, maybe way back when you were playing back in the day, when did you first start playing softball for you back in the day?
I started playing, oh gosh, probably about 6 or 7. We did not have the crazy travel ball scene where I was from, like, well, anywhere like it is now, but I
yeah.
grew up in a super small town in Kansas, so I played in local T-ball. I actually grew up playing baseball first, before we started playing actual league softball. Played for our league in our city. I grew up in Abilene, Kansas. So we had our Ikes and Eagles rivalry. I knew softball was something that I wanted to pursue more. So that's when I actually started driving to Kansas City about 3 times a week to pursue kind of a more advanced club level softball. I want to say I started that about 8th grade. Um,
Ah,
so that's when I really knew, softball was something I wanted to do. I started pitching at about 8 years old. So, everybody at that age says they want to be a pitcher, and then they see the work that goes into it. I was fortunate. I had my father was a former Division I athlete and actually a pro coach. And so he pushed me, and that was really nice to have as well, because he made me realize actually what it took. So I instill a lot of that into my coaching today as well.
wow. Coach Josh, that's actually a segue too. Yeah, that's something near and dear to your heart. She's a pitcher, and that's right up your alley, right, Coach? What do you say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, I love pitching. in our interview, I told him, he was like, "How'd you get into softball?" I'm like, "Well, I fell in love with pitching first, and then as I was around the game, I was like, like the hitting and like defensive sides are cool, but I fell in love with pitching first." And I tell him all the time that'll always be the thing that sets my soul on fire in this game is pitching. So
Yeah,
totally
love it.
get it.
Yeah, go ahead with question 2 as well, Josh, if you want to. That's yours. So.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been through, you played, you're coaching, you're doing lessons. Coaching in softball is a grind. It's can be very mentally deteriorating and very exhausting. So day in and day out, why do you choose softball? Why is softball what you have rooted so much in your time and investment in post playing?
That's a fantastic question. So short answer, softball gave a lot to me. It gave me, not only it gave me obviously a college education, I think that's point blank, but it gave me friendships. It gave me mental toughness. It gave me independence. It gave me, just the ability to be the human being that I am today. It also, I know people say this as a cliche. It was, it was my first love. It was my first love. And when I lost it to an injury, it was hard. It was one of the hardest things I had ever gone through because it truly was my first love. And so that's one thing, that I hope that all of the athletes that either take lessons from me or play for me as a coach understand is how much I love this sport and how much I want them to love the sport and understand that the sport can give them so much if they pour everything they can into it.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's a lot of what we talk about in our program too. It's like you're gonna get what you put into it, So if we, the game knows it's a big circle. What goes around comes around. So I love that. I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Wow. Fall in love with it. It is a true thing. You fall in love with pieces of the game, nuances. Dane, that's something you've talked about forever. Go ahead, Dane.
Yeah, definitely. And whenever you're playing, you get all these people that help you. You put into it. Everybody sees what you're putting into it, and they're more than willing to step in to help you, whether it's a teammate, another parent, a coach. In your long history of playing, coach, are there some influences that helped you along in your game, whenever you're coming up in Abilene and traveling to Kansas City? Are there some influences that you'd like to speak about that kind of helped you, form your game?
I will say my dad had a huge part of it. Obviously, I grew up in the Jenny Finch era, so I got to watch her a lot. She was somebody that was super, super fun to watch. Once I kind of got into big time club ball, I would say one of my biggest mentors and people that I look up to a lot was, her name's Megan Davison Hill now because she's married, but Megan Davison was one of my, she was actually my last club coach that I had before I went off to college. She took a job at a junior college in Oklahoma, and now she's at Emporia. But she 100% was one of my biggest influences. And then I was very fortunate to go play for a program that had a strong female presence that helped me grow my game. I model a lot of actually my coaching styles around, Coach Aubrey Bratton, who is my head coach at the junior college that I played at, and then also Coach Sam Fleeman Honeycutt, who is my pitching coach there. Those I would say those three ladies are definitely people that I've looked up to and that have been strong influences in my game for sure.
Wow. All three names, household names, and I definitely follow you. I think Coach Honeycutt, we might have a mutual friend, Aubrey. I'm not sure. That might be Aubrey. I'm pretty sure because we know Aubrey. I think that's a connection. But either way, you said something, Aldyn, when I approached you first off, when we began kind of messaging you and talking. There's something, and Dane and I feel this way, and so does Coach Josh. We always make it a point to give that equal love and respect, female athleticism, and males. It should just be, hey, it should be the same. And I love what you're doing with multiple programs to bring that respect that females deserve. I can't say enough hats off to you for what you're doing to bring respect that you deserve. Right, Dane? I mean, when you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And whenever you work with the younger groups, 34 lessons, that's a lot of influence and passing on to that next level. And like Josh and I always say, that the next level's in great hands, the next generation. With you and Coach Josh there, Coach Trevino, you guys do things that, deserves applause, because it's not easy working with that many personalities and, varying ages. So we love talking to individuals like yourself that pass that knowledge on.
Love it. Yeah, Coach Josh, help me not fanboy out here. I know the next one's you, man. So help me get out of this one before I get in the weeds of fanboying, man. So.
All right. So Aldyn, what are some softball things you're looking forward to in 2024? What does that look like for you? What is the next?
So I would say 2024, I'm really excited about because I have a lot of 2025 athletes, and it's a big recruiting year for them. And they are kids that some are new to me this year, and some I've poured the last 5 years of my coaching career into. And so I'm super, super excited to just see all of their hard work and growth pay off. And in all of these recruiting tournaments, because it is a grind and it's hard, and it's hard to keep them positive in it because they go through the turmoils of seeing, my best friend committed here and this friend's visiting here. And, it really truly is getting them to understand that it is a journey and everybody is on their own path. So that's something I would say I'm really excited for softball wise in 2024 from kind of the club side. College side, we were conference champions last year. That was my first year as a college coach, and I came in and had to revamp the entire pitching program.
Wow.
So to be able to come in and do that and get to a point where we were able to win conference was super, super exciting. So would really like to just build on. Thank you.
Not easy to do.
Yeah.
Just come in and do that.
Yeah, it was, I was very fortunate that I was able to connect with the girls and get them to trust me. And I had a senior horse last year, unfortunately she's graduated, but she wrote a lot of innings for us, and her and I worked one-on-one so much. I had 2 seniors last year that were, hey, can we get extra time? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do that? All the time during season. I mean, they were invested, they were bought in, they were ready to go. And so that was huge part, I think I would attribute to our success for sure. But definitely would love to see that repeat and hopefully go to World Series this year.
Let's go. Yeah.
That's awesome. Rooting for you. Let's go.
Thanks.
Isn't it? You said something for a second about the freshman or the senior thing. Isn't it a shame that we can't redshirt them for like 12 seasons? I'm just saying, pros do it, making her 32nd year debut, and her kids are in the stands and watching her, I'm saying no.
So just graduate with 10 degrees. It's
all good.
Yeah.
And a pitcher who is putting her 13th year into the program now. So it's awesome.
And Coach, before we go to that next segment, I was always wanting to know, whenever you coach, like the 16s, and like you say, you have the recruiting class coming through, what is something that you kind of emphasize to some of those pitchers that are going from that club level, high school, into that college level, playing girls, they're used to playing girls that are maybe within a year or two of them, to now playing girls when they step in that freshman year, possibly playing girls that are 2, 3, 4 years older than them?
So something I'm super passionate about is just mental game and the mental approach to the game. It's something that I speak a lot about. It's something I build into our winter off-season workouts every year. So not defeating yourself before you step on the mound, not being intimidated by anybody before you step on the mound. One of my things that I always tell them is go compete. I don't care who's up there, go compete. It's so funny to me. I would sit there and, we can't talk about OU without talking about Jocelyn Allo. And it's so funny because I'd have conversations with my mom of, why do they keep pitching to her? And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
I love that. Go compete, go try to strike her out, go try to give her something that she can't take over the fence. So that's really my biggest message with these girls is don't strike yourself out of the game before you've even gotten into the game.
Wow. I'm sitting here writing notes down. I got another tattoo after yours, man. I'm going to get "Don't Strike Yourself Out" right there on my arm whenever I go play in my my rec ball, my 30 plus. I'm just kidding, Coach.
No, but yeah, that's everything, Aldyn. We talk about that with our athletes too. It's like you like, especially pitching, because pitching is just so different. Pitching is in a league of its own. Like, you have to understand that your mind has to be like your best teammate in the circle, because it's the only thing you got in there. Like, if your thoughts are your army behind you, like, is that army helping you? And that's just where we have to like make the tough decision to be like, you know what, like this, I suck, or this isn't going to go well, or she's going to hit out of the yard. Like, and those are your conversations, and you're not giving yourself a chance. And then it doesn't give the team a chance. And then it's kind of just that big circle of like, you want to play, but we're not willing to do the things it takes to like fix the mental game. And then it's kind of like doing those things and finally, breaking the habits. But that's everything. And we talk about that here even too. But I love that. I just love hearing pitching coaches talk about that. Because my thing is
Yeah.
like, sometimes I tell them, I go like, coach, this is like, that's, kind of delusional. It's like the hot thing to say now, like, oh, that's kind of delusional. I'm like, you have to have some of that. Like, I should be able to put a grapefruit in your hand and you'd be like, yeah, I can get you out with this. You can
That's
blindfold me
awesome.
and make me throw a grapefruit. And there's no part of me that doesn't think I can't get you out. So I love that completely.
Yeah. And that was just a question. Josh and I each have daughters that pitch, and that's something I like to ask pitching coaches, to kind of pick their brain on that. So that was kind of a question for Josh and I.
Well, Coach Aldyn, you guys go ahead. And you and Josh, we're just going to listen. Me and Dane are going to sit back and let you and Josh. Josh, do you have any coach before I go on rapid? Josh, do you have any coach to coach for Aldyn that you want to ask before I transition?
Yeah, Aldyn, I would love to know. I guess it kind of encompasses coaching philosophy and everything, but outside of the wins, the losses, the wrist snaps, and everything, what matters to you between the lines, between team culture, between managing a diverse group of women beneath you? What matters to you?
That's a great question. I can probably answer this in a couple ways, but I guess it would be three things. But what are the three things that you can do that are going to make me upset with you? And it's lack of communication, lack of effort, and lack of just willingness to compete. Those are the three things where I will 100% be so upset about. But that between the lines, they know that they can fail. They know that they can fail and that it's going to be okay. And that we breed a culture where failure is okay. And it's not going to be berated. I think there's so many teams nowadays where failure is berated that kids are so afraid to fail that they get burnt out before they've even reached their peak.
Yeah.
And that's never something that I want to see, because this game should be fun. It's hard. It is extremely hard work, and you can play at any level you choose to, depending on how hard you want to work, but it should be fun along the way. And if it's not, then it's not the right thing for you. So, I hope that if one thing you can see about our culture is it's a culture that is going to breed positivity. There's times where I'm going to be upset, where I'm human. There's things where we work 8,000 times on it in practice and they're still going to do it wrong, and it's going to frustrate me. But you know what? I'm human and they're human. And I think that's important too, is they're impressionable humans because they are 14 to 16 years old. And even in my college girls, they're 18 to 21 years old. Those are very impressionable years. So if I sat there and continued to berate you, what makes you, afraid to go, like, what makes you want to go take risks as an adult? Like, what makes you want to go take that job and move halfway across the country for something that could be an excellent opportunity because you're afraid to fail? And that's one thing I will say that I have struggled a little bit with in, kind of this day and age of kids growing up is there is coddling isn't the right word. I don't love that word, but I've seen so many kids that haven't been allowed to fail. And it's bred a generation that I think is going to really struggle growing up.
No, absolutely. And I 100% agree with, like, I wouldn't call it coddling, but like I have a little sister who's a 25 also, and just kind of her friends and the conversations and things. And, I'm going to use the travel ball world for an example, right? So she's like, oh, my friend was on this team and, she wasn't getting any playing time, so she moved, to this team. And then it was kind of similar story where it just didn't work out. So she moved to this team. And I'm sitting here listening and I'm thinking, and I'm like, to each their own. I'm never going to tell a family what they should and should not do. But we don't let kids handle hard all the time. And I do think that that's where that coddling comes into effect. Because then whether we get them at 18 or we get them at 16, they don't know how to handle that. So I think what we see sometimes is just like a system, of I've never been allowed to be in a space of hard because I removed myself from that situation because it's uncomfortable. And now I'm in a situation where it's hard and I'm failing. So I don't know how to deal with either. So the first thing we're going to do with, I suck, I hate it here, the sport isn't what I love anymore. and all those things, you know? So like my little sister, she's at 2025 right now, and she just committed. And she's playing on a team of really good, you know, athletes on this glory team, and they're 24s. They're a little bit older than her. So she's having to earn her playing time. She's having to do all that kind of stuff. You know, and she'll call me and she'll be like, "Hey, I only got, you know, a few at bats this weekend, and that bothers me, but my at bats were good." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm proud of you." You know, I'm like, but don't, you know, she kind of teeters the line of like, do you think this is still the right thing for me if I'm not playing a ton? Like,
Mhm.
I'm like, teeter the line. I'm like, I'm never going to tell you what you should do, but don't pull away from it because it's difficult, because it's only going to make you better. And so remember, the end goal is college. So if you can learn how to grind out the hard now, college is going to be a breeze. You know, so I do agree. I don't think it's intentional coddling, but it's like let them sit in it for a little bit. You know, let them sit in hard, because coaching is hard. You know, you know, I don't think that there's ever an easy day of coaching. Even winning, when you win, it was a hard day, you know? And if I think of all the coaches who stepped out of it because it was hard, we would have no coaches.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
you know, coaching is not easy. So I'm
Man.
like, everything that you do requires some kind of hard, and you've got to pick your hard. But you love this sport, so don't give up on it. Let's find a way to get through it. There's a way to get through it. I totally agree. I think we need a space for grace and saying you're allowed to fail here. It's a sport of failure. You know, you either win or you learn from it and you move on. You know, there really is no losing. You get to decide what losing is and what losing means for you. But I completely agree. So I think changing that cycle is like, let's get these kids. You're in a safe space to fail. With that being said, we're going to keep our tires moving, and we're going to get through this hard, because I got you, and I'm going to push you forward. You're going to fall back, but like quitting is just not an option
Mm.
as a coach for me. Because I'm like, if I'm looking out for who I want you to be, or who you want to be as, you know, as a mother and or a career or anything that you want to be, like that's hard. Like that's real life, and that's hard. And those are situations that you can't just quit from. So I can 100% agree with like, we just need to let people, I think, sit in hard, or let these kids sit in hard for a little bit instead of shying it away from them because it's uncomfortable, you know?
I got to take a moment and say this, Dane. This makes twice in 1 month that Dane and I have been speechless. Aldyn, I'm telling you, Josh, what you guys are saying, you guys just keep talking. We don't need to talk. It's amazing what you're saying. Dane, am I right? Are they spot on, Aldyn? You guys are
Yeah,
spot
yeah.
on, man.
Yeah,
Aldyn,
definitely. I mean, it's something that every kid needs to hear.
Aldyn, you said this thing, and this is where I think you and Coach Trevino have such Aldyn, a kind of a connection. Aldyn, when you talked about making sure that yes, we can correct them, but do it in a place of love. I love what you said about the old, because that's something very similar that I think we try to embrace. That, you know, the kids have changed their style a little bit these days, and no longer are the days of when Dane and I were playing where we can just get yelled at into doing it. It's not like that anymore. It's a different place. And Aldyn, I think what you're doing is you're finding that balance, and I respect you for that.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
definitely.
Yeah, Aldyn, I would love to know your thoughts on what coaching looked like when you played, and what, you know, coaching for you looks like now.
Yeah.
And what would you do the same, and what would you do differently?
I was coached like that. I was coached hard. I was yelled at. I was 100% that. I had, I guess you would call it the old school style of coaching. You know, it made me stronger. It made me mentally tough, but it also made me break down quite often and feel like I wasn't good enough. You know, I would say the things that I had in club ball that I took from it and made better was, when I grew up, I had a lot of, and that's still true in club ball today. You have a lot of people that like to talk, but don't like to tell you the truth. They like to talk around a lot of things. And so something I learned very early on was, and something my parents made me do, and I'm very, very fortunate for this, is mom and dad didn't go to the coaches. I was talking to coaches from 12 and under on up. It was my responsibility to figure out what I needed to do. And you know what, if I made the decision that wasn't the place for me, because one, everybody should have morals and values when it comes to a team. And if that team doesn't fit your morals and values, then move on. But I wasn't leaving a team because it was hard. I wasn't leaving a team because, so-and-so benched me for whatever. That was never anything that, one, my dad would have killed me, but two, that's just not something I believe in. Like, like Coach Trevino said, sit in the hard, work through the hard. You're going to be better for it. But one of the things that I would say that I've taken as a coach is When I was brought up and coached, it was a one size fits all approach.
Yeah.
And you were coached the same way and you either liked it or you didn't. In this generation, you can't do that. I have kids that I know I can get in their butt.
Yeah.
I know that. And I know that that's how they're going to respond. And I have kids that if I went up and did that to them, they would shut down immediately.
Yep.
So it's understanding how to build a relationship with these kids where they understand that I have their back.
Right.
So that it makes it that much easier to say, hey, you screwed up. How are we going to fix it? And they know that that's not coming from a place of you suck. I want you off the team. They know that it's coming from a place of love. Okay, hey, I didn't do great today, but how can we fix it? Because I know my coach has my back and she's going to be there to help me.
That's like, I remember Aldyn, and I'm just sitting here racking these notes up, and I'm like, wow, processing this. I think it might have been Herm Edwards. Dane helped me out here, but there's a coach that said, it was a football coach, says, if I ever stop coaching you, that's when I'm done with you. You know, when you say that, Aldyn, it's like, look, from a place of love, whether like you, Aldyn, you or Coach Josh talking about it, if I'm still giving you coaching, that means I still care. So I love that. So, wow. I could stop right now, but I got some more fun we got to get to, you guys. So this is cool. So I'm just sitting here listening, taking notes, eating my popcorn, listening. But for a second, Aldyn, I'm going to transition to something that we call rapid fire. Now, I promise you, somebody lift some weights. It's getting heavy in here. I kind of like it, but I'm going to take a moment and transition into something that's called rapid. Now, Josh is familiar with this. Dane and I, we've done this hundreds of times, Aldyn. What this is designed to do is it's a little Rorschach test. There's no wrong answers. This is just for fun. This is a personality test, okay? So, I think I lost her. Did I make a speechless, Aldyn?
Nope, you're good. I'm ready to go.
You were just psyched up and ready
I know.
to go.
I'm mentally preparing myself for what's about to happen.
There you go.
This is gonna be great. So Josh can tell you, and Dane and I, it's all PG. We're about to get weird though. Okay, so check this out. We got 5 questions. Me and Dane and Josh have already bet on these questions. Whoever wins up gets the winning record. The loser gets to buy us lunch. So I'm pretty sure Dane's gonna owe me lunch, just so you know. So no.
Again.
Yeah. So Aldyn, speak from the heart. There's no wrong answer. These are meant to be fun. Imagine for a moment anything's possible, past or present. Even cartoons could come to life. Nothing's off the table for this segment. Okay. So now here we go. So first question, you guys are going to make it to supers, and we're going to go ahead and put you in for Worlds this next year. You're going to take the program. You're going to go. Avila's going to make their debut. And they say, okay, Aldyn, you have to do this without cracking a smile. You have to keep a straight face. Every single time one of your players gets a hit, you have to either A, cartwheel around the bases. You have to cartwheel with a straight face, or you have to moonwalk backwards around the bases without smiling. Cartwheel or moonwalk, which one are you going with?
Well, I've had 4 knee surgeries and an elbow surgery, so the cartwheel's probably off the table. So I'm going to go with moonwalk.
I could just see it though, like kind of just walking backwards. Like what? What do you have to say, Dane? What'd you have on that?
Oh yeah, moonwalk. You can hum Billie Jean as you do it. There you go.
I love it. Josh, what'd you have on that?
I had cartwheel. I think cartwheels are fun. Why not?
Got you. I love it. So right now, we're taking a couple more. So when you get to the game, Aldyn, they say, hey, look, we need you to, obviously you're calling pitches. We're going to go and say this time. I know things are different with different programs, but you're calling pitches. Now you can't throw signs and you can't use numbers. You have to call pitches using 2 very, very unique methods, Aldyn. Your options are either A, you can call pitches using only an Etch-a-Sketch. That's probably before your time, but an Etch-a-Sketch. Or B, you can call pitches using only a Light Bright. Which one are you going with, Aldyn?
Okay, Etch-a-Sketch wasn't before my time, but I really like Light Brights. I love Light Brights.
Yeah.
Absolutely Light Brights.
Let's go. I had that one. Dave?
No, I had Etch-a-Sketch. But they might have to slow down the game though, because it's a tough one to master.
Just kind of like, how do you do maybe like a 1-2 or whatever? Josh, what'd you have on that?
There you go.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what a Light Bright is, so I said Etch-a-Sketch.
Game over. Interview stop, bro. You have to go check out a Light Bright. They're one of the coolest toys. I know we're a lot older than you, but it's like, how do you even explain it, Dane? It's like, I don't know. You just have to look
it's
it up.
Like it's like carving a pumpkin with light. You put these pegs in different colored, then you turn the light on and it makes a picture.
Oh, it's so cool, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. You'll have to check it out. Next thing you know, you'll be getting one for your whole team.
No, yeah. Don't tell me. I will call pitches to the library if I think it's cool. Yeah.
Aldyn, next one. This is good. This is a good one here. These are all fan questions. So next one, Aldyn, they're going to take you. This is kind of a movie question similar to what Josh experienced. They want you to be a part of a reboot of one of these two franchises, Aldyn. You're going to be in this movie, okay? Softball, baseball, the diamond type thing. You can be a part of the remake of League of Their Own, or you can be a part of the remake of Angels in the Outfield. Which one are you going with?
League of Their Own, for sure.
I knew it. I had it. Crushing it. 3 for 3. Dane, what'd you have?
Yeah, League of Their Own. It's an iconic movie. Everybody loves that one.
Let's go. Josh, did you have that one?
I had a League of Their Own, absolutely.
Let's go. Got you. Aldyn, 2 more of these. I appreciate you doing this. You get a chance to, you get a practice scrimmage, however you want to call it. You get a scrimmage for the day. Your team, it's fall ball. You get to call up the cast of one of these 2 musicals to be on the other side of your scrimmage. So your team, Avila, you're going to take on either A, the cast of Grease in a scrimmage, or B, the cast of Greatest Showman in a scrimmage. Which one are you going against?
Grease, hands down.
Oh, I did not have that one. I actually had you for Greatest Showman because little Zac Efron, thing going on there. I didn't have that. So.
I watched Grease so much growing up. Loved that movie.
Did you have that, Josh? Did you have Grease?
I had Grease. Yeah.
Dane, how about you?
No, I had the Greatest Showman.
Got you. Okay, got you. So last one, Aldyn, you get a chance to, we're going to step into the world of cartoons for a second. And somehow, as you're going back to Supers, you get a call up from one of these 2 cartoon franchises, a guest pitcher for your 16U team, okay? So you're going to call up a guest pitcher from either A, the cast of Bob's Burgers, or B, the cast of Futurama. Which one are you going with?
Probably Bob's Burgers.
Let's go. I got you. I think her name's Tina, right? I think the girl's name is Tina.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, do you have that, Josh? Did you have Bob's Burgers?
I had Bob's Burgers, yeah.
Yeah. Dane, how about you?
Oh yeah, Bob's Burgers, definitely. It's sweet there.
Well, I think we tied, man. So we'll have to figure out a way to do a bonus one down the road. We'll have to throw you one at some point, Aldyn. So we tied. So Josh, you're off the hook because me and him tied. So nobody gets touched today. But Aldyn, thank you for doing that. Hopefully in interviews and segments you've had, it's something a little different. It's called Rapid. So thanks for being a good sport on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
absolutely. No, that was fun. Those questions were fun.
Love it. So Dane, final segment, I'll give it back to you, man. So
yeah, Coach Aldyn, we call this last segment open mic. We open up our floor for the guests to maybe tell some of the younger viewers and listeners that, want to get to the level of, college to play their sport, whether it's soccer, softball, anything. Have you carried maybe a mantra or maybe some kind of philosophy with you that would help maybe inspire some of those younger listeners and viewers on their path to their greatness?
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like I've said a lot of kind of everything so far. A mantra.
We broke your brain, Dave.
You did.
Well, maybe you could position like this. If there's some advice you'd give your
some advice.
Maybe a piece of advice, just something like I always say in the morning, 2 left turns don't make a right. I'm just kidding, I don't say that. But what's something maybe you said to yourself in the beginning years, like, hey, if you're looking back at your coaching career, things like that, So.
I always told myself that the hard work would pay off. Mm-hmm. I think that was the biggest thing. I felt like that there was always a place for me, that the time would always work itself out, to be patient. And actually I got recruited guest playing on a team in Kansas City one year. So, it's weird how the timing always works out. But I would say continue to work hard and trust the process. I think that that's a big one. I unfortunately had my first knee surgery my sophomore year of high school, and that sent me back a little bit. And so I think trusting the process was a little bit harder for me because I worked hard. And that's something my parents will tell you, is I worked harder than a lot of people that they know. And I had bigger plans for myself.
That's good.
Yeah.
You embraced it, as you said before. You stayed in the tough part for a little bit, and look at you now. Yeah. We're running multiple teams. Now at this point, you're well beyond a local Kansas celebrity at this point. Now you're known in the world of softball. Like I said, when we saw you, we thought, oh man, just to get the chance to connect with the local,
Yeah.
and also out there doing big things. So wow, I can't say enough thank yous about the journey and the example that you're setting. It's been awesome to see,
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
well, Coach Aldyn, I know it's always a treat. Let it be known, as we've told all of our amazing guests that come on the show, we call it an alumni. Please let it be known this is the first of many. Don't let this be your last stop through our show. I want to make sure we stay in touch, us and you and Coach Josh. Make sure we make this the first of many. We'll get this out as soon as we can for the world to hear, and let's make sure we stay in touch and be sure to do it again sometime soon. Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I had a blast. This was a lot of fun, and I always like connecting with fellow people in the softball world.
Good. And the softball world's it's a big family, but we learned it's a lot closer than we realized. So thank you again for your time, Coach,
definitely.
and we'll give you some time back in your night. Okay. So
awesome. Thank you all so much.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you, Coach.
Wow. So talk to me for a second, Dane and Coach Josh. What did you think of her? Amazing lady, huh?
Yeah, love it. I mean, the message is solid. I mean, like I said, what I took from it is like from both coaches here saying, fail at 100%. You don't just go out there. If you're going to do it with passion. I mean, it's a great message to hear.
Didn't you notice?
Sure.
Go ahead, Josh.
And I think on top of all of the great pedagogical things that you talked about coaching wise, but something that we both have in common, she went back and talked about people who influenced her, and it was women in the sport. And on my, episode, I said, I was shaped by at least 5 women in my life who, pushed me and, inspired me to be a part of this sport. And I just think it's important that we continue to tell those stories. So like listeners, if you're out there, like appreciate the women in your life who are in the sport, who continue to come back to it, because I still think we battle things in the softball community where it's, okay, you played softball, now what are you going to do? And, luckily coaches maybe don't have to fight that battle as much, but, there's something to be said there. I am because she was, and that's going to be softball's life. And that's going to be, the mountain that we have to build the sport upon if we're ever going to continue and develop it. So I know as a male professional in a women's sport that this history, my career is nothing without the women that came before it.
Right. Right.
And I give kudos for Aldyn for saying, hey, this is my place. Like, I want to work with these people, and I know that I'm bringing something to the table, and I know that these all athletes are going to be better because of me, because I'm better because of her. So kiddos, appreciate the women who come back and give into the sport, because the world tells them not to. The world tells them to be a mother. The world tells them to move on with their life. And yes, there are lots of great men in this sport, but the sport was built upon the hard work and the sweat and the gold medals of women. Okay, make sure she knows what she's doing and what she means to you, because this sport is nothing without the women who are in it.
Dane, you see why I told you I love Coach Josh? I mean, exactly our philosophy to a T, right? Am I right? I mean, that's what we.
I mean, and that's why we. I was to say that's in large part why we started this, to showcase athletes like coaches, the coach there, that those kind of people are the ones you want to hook your trailer to and just follow them around everywhere and learn from them, because they're cutting a path that is miles wide, and you want to be a part of that. So
awesome.
I can't, whenever we have somebody like that on, I mean, I just get so much out of it. I have, like I say, a big page of notes from both of you. So I just want to tell both of you, thank you for a great lesson tonight.
Yeah. Well, Coach Josh, man, we got to make sure this is a recurring thing, Josh, because every time I talk to you, I learn so much more. And this was a great one. I think your guys' philosophies intertwine so much. And I think you guys both hit on old school, adapting, taking old school plus new school. She's got a lot of, and she's just getting started, man. She's got a golden future. I'm telling you, she's going to be great. So already great. She's already making plans for, again, came in her first year, won a conference championship. Okay, now we're going from there. That's step one. Let's go from that. Let's talk about getting to regional. Let's go on to worlds. It's like, okay, let's just go ahead and do it. Just let's go. Just the truck is just hauling. So
she's got the recipe. She's got the recipes. If you're listening, that's the recipe. Player buy-in, showing up for players, coaching hard. That's the recipe. If you can put all those 3 together, cool things are going to happen for you.
That was great. Well, Coach Josh, thank you again, man. Your time is always, it's always a privilege. I told you, I meant what I said.
Yes.
One of the best mentors to this. We'll make sure it's a recurring thing. Wish you and the squad the best of luck. We'll be in touch soon. Thanks again for what you did. Dane, that was a fun night, man. We'll wrap it up on this
Yeah.
one. As you guys out there,
Loved it.
everyone listening worldwide, don't forget that we love you. And Dane,
Thank you for listening.